Mines and Money Miami is brought to you by Snowline Gold.
Kodiak Copper has a 25,000 meter drill program planned for 2023. CEO is Claudia Tornquist. Claudia, welcome back to Kitco.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
What are you building on? What are you going to be drilling this season?
This year will be a very important year for Kodiak because we will drill a big drill program. And unlike previous years, we will not be focused on the gate zone, which was our first discovery, but we will take the model that led to discovery success to multiple other intrusions that we have on the property, targets, previously drilled intrusions that, just like Gate, have shallow mineralization already drilled historically, but they have never been tested deeper. And we will now test those targets with the aim, just like at the Gate zone, to find the high-grade source of this mineralization that we have already.
Step us back right now with Kodiak. You're focused on southern BC.
That's correct. Our MPD project is in the southern Quesnel Trough, between two big copper mines, actually, Copper Mountain and Highland Valley, in a very established mining region, which is a great advantage because it makes for very cost-effective exploration. And looking into the future, it will be a big difference maker to the economics of a potential mine.
And you have a partner with that right now with Kodiak, is that correct? With one of the majors?
We have Teck as our largest shareholder, 9.9%. They invested right after our discovery in 2020, and in our most recent financing, which is now, a year ago, they invested again. So they've been a very supportive partner.
We should mention also the chair is Chris Taylor, famous for Great Bear Resources.
Yes, and Chris is a very important part of our success. In fact, Kodiak is in many ways a similar story to Great Bear in that we took a project that lots of people had looked at, and Chris really, with his sort of creativity and out-of-the-box thinking, came up with a different approach, a different model, and that led to a big discovery success at Great Bear. And that also really is what led to the Gate Zone discovery at Kodiak. So yeah, Chris's out-of-the-box thinking is a very, very big part of Kodiak's success.
Talk about the region, what's there. You said before, there's Highland Valley copper, so this is a very prolific copper region through southern British Columbia.
Yes, it is. The Quesnel Trough is one of the main copper producing regions in British Columbia, and we are at the southern end of it. It's a 3 hours drive from Vancouver on the highway. You literally turn off the highway and 5 minutes later are on the project. So it's really fantastic infrastructure, very accessible, and very good place to explore and in the future build a mine.
It was interesting within your update that you provided. You were talking about doing work around reducing carbon emissions. Now, we hear a lot of that from the miners because, those are industrial operations, and then they're having to electrify with either dealing with the trucks or dealing with the milling stations. But you're a junior as well. How do you mitigate carbon when you're doing an operation like yourself?
Well, that's a good question. We're just working on a carbon counting project, and we'll actually be able to announce something in the near future where we essentially have added up all our emissions for 2022, and we are now looking at opportunities to reduce those emissions. And those that we will not be able to reduce, we will then buy carbon credits to then come to a net zero carbon position. And the reasons we're doing that is we're just starting early. I think there is no too early to really be responsible environmentally. And it's a relatively simple and not very expensive process that will get us to a point where we can say we're a zero carbon exploration project. I think that's very exciting. And I think that will make the project more attractive to investors and also to any potential acquirers, big companies who might become interested because they all have their carbon targets.
The 25,000 meter drill program that you have planned, Claudia, talk a bit about more of the targets, why you decided to go after those.
We have multiple targets because we have a multi-center porphyry systems with multiple intrusions that for which we have some historic drilling in copper and gold near surface already. So several of the targets will be those previously drilled, historically shallowly drilled targets, like Man, then 1516 in the Southern Axe claims and others. We also have some new targets that came out of our regional work, out of our sampling and geophysical work. And so we've added targets like Blue or Star to our list, and we keep generating new targets. So we're not short of targets. It will be a very exciting year. And last but not least, I forgot the Bayer target. That's an exciting discovery we made. We announced late last year in the autumn. It's a wide precious metals zone, and very excited about that one. And we'll certainly also explore that further this year.
I think the last time we talked was, I think it was over a year ago, but there's been a lot that's happened in the critical metal space, which you're involved in with copper, and that would be around the support by governments for this metal. So we have the Inflation Reduction Act that was introduced by the Biden administration. The Canadian government has introduced its own plans. We're hearing something from the BC government as well, too. Talk about the support from the governments that you're seeing for putting a project through like Kodiak.
Well, we're certainly seeing a lot of political will and support for the mining industry. The tax credit for critical minerals that you mentioned, that's certainly a big positive for us. That enables us to raise capital more easily, makes it more attractive for investors to invest in companies such as ourselves, and lowers our cost of capital. We are certainly also seeing on the ground good progress with permitting. Like when we started out, it took much longer. Our first permit took 9 months to come through, and was a very onerous and bureaucratic process. And just recently in autumn, we applied for a permit amendment, and that just took 2 months. So things are going in the right direction. And from my experience, it is certainly very good to explore in BC, and all the right pieces in place.
Lastly, Claudia, catalysts over the next 12 months. You're going to be doing 25,000 meters of drilling, so I assume there's going to be lots of drill results. Also, you're going to have some news on the ESG front.
Yes, well, the big next catalyst that I'm very excited about is the start of our drill program in March, and we will then have at regular intervals through the year exploration results from the multiple targets we're drilling. We will also have news on our carbon strategy and ESG reporting, so more news to come from that end as well.
Claudia, thanks for speaking with Kitco.
Thank you.
My name is Michael McRae here at Mines and Money Miami.
Kitco Mining special coverage of the Mines and Money Miami is brought to you by Snowline Gold.